I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people over 75 need to hear, and I want you to hear it without fear and without guilt. If walking is the only thing you're doing for exercise, it may no longer be enough to protect the strength, balance, and stability you need to stay independent. Now, I'm not attacking walking. I walk. I want you walking. Walking is good for your heart, your mood, your circulation, and your routine. But there's a difference between staying active and staying protected. And after 75, that difference starts to matter a whole lot more. I learned that the hard way. After 20 years as a Navy SEAL, I used to believe more movement solved almost everything. Push harder, move more, stay disciplined, keep going. But by my late 40s, my body started teaching me a different lesson. My blood pressure was climbing, my recovery was slower, and the kind of training that used to make me feel powerful was beginning to wear me down instead of build me up. That's when I had to stop chasing intensity and start respecting precision. And that's exactly what I want to give you today. Not another long workout, not a complicated fitness plan, not expensive equipment. Just 5 simple movements that train the things walking tends to miss after 75. Upper body support, leg strength, balance, coordination, bone loading, and the ability to get low and come back up with control. Because that's what real independence looks like at this stage of life. Not how far you can walk on a good day, but whether your body can steady you, support you, and recover you in the little moments that matter most. So stay with me, because each of these 5 movements builds a different kind of protection into the body. And the last one, in my opinion, is one of the clearest signs of whether a person is keeping their body truly capable as they age. Let's start with number 5, wall push-ups. Now, I know some people hear that and immediately think, that sounds too easy. Good. Easy to begin is exactly what makes it useful. Because after 75, one of the biggest mistakes people make is ignoring upper body strength until they desperately need it. You need your arms and shoulders more than you think. To push yourself out of bed, to steady yourself on a counter, to catch yourself against a wall, to use a railing, to rise from a chair with control, to carry groceries, to open a heavy door, to support your body when balance gets shaky. Walking doesn't train that very well. A wall push-up does. Stand facing a wall about an arm's length away. Place your hands on the wall around shoulder height. Step your feet back just enough so your body forms a gentle angle. Then bend your elbows and bring your chest toward the wall with control. Pause for a moment. Then press yourself back to the starting position. What I want here is not speed. I want control. Slow lowering. Steady pressing. Body staying organized from head to heels. That controlled lowering matters. A lot of strength in later life is really about breaking strength, not just pushing strength. Can your body control itself on the way down? Can it stabilize under load? That's what protects joints and reduces those awkward, unstable moments. Start with 5 to 8 repetitions. If that feels easy, great. Slow them down. If it feels hard, that's not failure. That's information. It means this system needs attention. And let me tell you something important. A person with stronger shoulders, arms, and trunk is often a person who feels more secure moving through daily life. That security matters. Now let's move to number 4, seated leg extensions. This one is simple, but it targets an area that becomes absolutely critical after 75. The front of the thighs. Your quadriceps. Those muscles help you stand up, walk downhill, lower yourself into a chair, climb stairs, and stabilize the knees. When they weaken, daily life gets heavier fast. Sit tall in a sturdy chair. One foot stays planted. Slowly straighten the other leg until the knee is as extended as you can comfortably make it. Hold it for a second, then lower it back down slowly. Then switch sides. That's the basic version, and for many people it's enough to start. If you later want more challenge, you can add a light resistance band. But don't rush to make it harder before you make it consistent. What matters here is that your thigh does the work, not momentum. Lift with control. Hold. Lower even more slowly. That slow lowering is gold. It teaches the muscle to stay engaged while the joint stays supported. That can make a real difference in how stable the knees feel. Try 8 to 12 repetitions per leg. And as you do it, pay attention to what you feel. Not pain, not strain in the joint. I'm talking about muscular effort in the front of the thigh. That's the area we're trying to wake back up. A lot of people over 75 think their knees are the whole problem. Sometimes the knees are not the beginning of the story. Sometimes the bigger issue is that the muscles around the knees have gone quiet. This helps bring them back into the conversation. Now let's go to number 3, a modified Tai Chi style balance flow. This is one of the best things you can do for fall prevention, and it doesn't look dramatic at all. That's one reason people underestimate it. But when it comes to balance after 75, the body needs more than muscle. It needs communication, brain to feet, feet to hips, eyes to inner ear, breathing to posture, everything working together. That's what slow balance flow trains. Start by standing with your feet about shoulder width apart near a counter or chair for safety. Then slowly shift your weight from one foot to the other. Don't lean the whole body like you're tipping over. Stay tall. Just let one leg accept more weight while the other accepts less. Then try a slow heel-to-toe walk along a counter, one foot in front of the other, as if you are carefully walking on a line. Not because life asks you to walk like that every day, but because that narrow path forces your body to organize itself more precisely. Then add a gentle single leg hold. Lift one knee a little. It does not need to come high. Let one hand stay near support if needed. Maybe let the opposite arm move slowly in a small circle. Then switch sides. What matters is the slowness. Slow movement forces awareness. Awareness improves correction. Correction protects balance. That is the chain. Most people only notice their balance once it has already become unreliable. They say things like, "I don't know why I'm stumbling," or "I just feel less steady lately." A lot of the time, the problem is not that the body has forgotten strength completely. It's that the body has stopped practicing control. This movement restores control. Give this 5 minutes. That's enough to start. Slow weight shifts, slow heel-to-toe steps, slow single-leg holds. Do not rush. There is more value in 3 perfect slow steps than in 20 careless fast ones. Now let's move to number 2, heel drops. This one needs some care, so listen closely. As we age, one of the biggest risks is losing bone strength, especially in the hips and spine. And while walking is helpful, it often does not provide enough direct loading to stimulate the bones the way more targeted impact can. A gentle heel drop can help. Stand tall, holding onto a counter or chair for support. Rise up onto your toes. Then lower your heels back to the ground with a firm but controlled tap. Not a violent slam. Not a jolt that hurts. Just a clear, purposeful contact with the floor. Rise, tap. Rise, tap. This is not about making noise. It's about giving the body a clear loading signal through the legs and skeleton. If you have significant osteoporosis, recent fractures, severe pain, recent surgery, or your doctor has told you to avoid impact work, this is one you should discuss with a medical professional before starting. Safety matters, always. But for many older adults, a controlled heel drop can be a useful way to challenge the lower body, in a way walking often does not. Start small. 10 to 20 repetitions is enough in the beginning. Feel how your body responds. This is not something you grind through. This is something you introduce intelligently. And there is another hidden benefit here. Heel drops also wake up the feet, ankles, and lower legs. They remind the body how to absorb and organize force. That matters for real-life movement. The ground gives you information every time you touch it. The question is whether your body is still good at listening. Now let's get to number 1. Supported deep squats with a hold. In my opinion, this is one of the most honest movement tests in aging. Not because you need to squat like an athlete, but because the ability to get lower, stay stable, and come back up tells you so much about your hips, knees, ankles, trunk, and confidence. And after 75, confidence in those positions matters. Stand facing a sturdy support, something you can hold with both hands. A door frame, a railing, a countertop edge that is secure. Put your feet a little wider than shoulder width if that feels comfortable, with toes turned out slightly. Then sit your hips back and down slowly, as if you're lowering yourself toward a seat that is lower than you expected. Go only as low as you can control. Maybe that's a shallow squat at first. Fine. Maybe it's halfway. Fine. Maybe one day it's deeper. Great. Wherever you are, pause there. Hold for a few seconds while breathing. Then press through your feet and stand back up with control. This is not about proving flexibility. It's about building useful lower body strength, mobility, and confidence in one movement. The hold matters because it teaches the body not to panic in a loaded position. Your legs work, your hips work, your trunk stabilizes, your feet stay engaged, and your mind learns that you can be in this position without losing control. That matters more than people realize. A lot of adults stop going low because going low feels unfamiliar. Then unfamiliar becomes difficult. Difficult becomes avoided. Avoided becomes lost. This movement interrupts that process. Start with 3 to 5 repetitions. Hold each one for 5 to 10 seconds. Use as much support as needed. There is no shame in support. Support lets you practice safely enough to improve. And let me say this clearly. The goal is not exhaustion. The goal is adaptation. Now step back and look at what these 5 movements give you together. Wall push-ups rebuild upper body support. Seated leg extensions wake up the thighs that help you stand and stabilize the knees. Modified balance flow trains control, coordination, and fall resistance. Heel drops provide a firmer loading signal through the bones and lower legs. Supported squat holds rebuild the ability to lower and rise with confidence. That's a complete system. And here's why I like it so much. It respects aging without surrendering to it. It does not pretend your body is 30. It does not treat you like you're fragile glass either. It simply says, your body still needs the right signals. And that is the truth. The body adapts to what you repeat. If all you repeat is easy walking, then you get better at easy walking. But daily life after 75 asks for more than that. It asks you to stand up from chairs, catch yourself when a step goes wrong, hold your posture, use your arms, control your descent, trust your balance, stay steady when life gets unpredictable. That's why walking alone is not enough. Now I want to be realistic with you. You do not need to do all 5 perfectly tomorrow. And you do not need long sessions. You need consistency. Maybe you start with wall push-ups and chair leg extensions. Maybe next week you add the balance flow. Maybe the week after that you experiment with controlled heel taps and supported squat holds. That counts. Aging well is not about heroic effort. It's about repeated signals. And if you're sitting there thinking, I'm too old to start now, I want to challenge that thought. Too old, according to who? Your muscles still listen. Your nervous system still responds. Your balance can still improve. Your legs can still get stronger. Your coordination can still sharpen. Will it happen overnight? No. Can it happen? Absolutely. I've seen older adults transform the way they move, not because they discovered some miracle, but because they finally started practicing what daily life actually requires. That's what these movements are for. They are not flashy. They are not trendy. They are useful. And useful is what keeps you independent. So here is my challenge to you. This week, choose 3 days. On each of those days, do a short session, a few wall push-ups, a set of seated leg extensions, A few minutes of slow balance flow. A small number of controlled heel drops if appropriate for you. A few supported squat holds. Move slowly. Use support. Respect pain. Stay honest. And then notice what happens. Notice whether getting out of a chair feels a little easier. Notice whether your steps feel a little steadier. Notice whether your body feels more awake, more responsive, more trustworthy. Because that trust is a big part of what aging adults lose first. Not just strength, trust. These movements help rebuild both. So keep walking, yes, but stop asking walking to do a job it cannot fully do by itself after 75. Give your body more complete instructions. Push into the wall. Straighten the leg. Shift your weight with control. Tap the heels with purpose. Sit low with support and rise again. That is how independence is protected. That is how confidence is rebuilt. That is how the body stays capable longer. You are not too old to get stronger. You are not too old to improve balance. You are not too old to train for real life. And real life is exactly what your body deserves to be ready for.